What is up, everybody? Welcome back to racingnews.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. All right, it's 100-point race time. That's right. The big races are finally here for the Kentucky Derby, and we're going to talk about the Louisiana Derby first. I'll put it up on the list for you here. A field of 9 set to go at Fairgrounds. It'll be Saturday, March 21st. Race 12 on the card, Louisiana Derby, Grade 2 event. A mile and 3/16. So a mile and 3/16 for this one. Of course, the Fairgrounds running the Risen Star at a mile and 1/8, and then the Louisiana Derby at a mile and 3/16. The only track to do it. And they've had pretty good success with it over the past, 4 or 5 years at least. Having horses run decent in the Triple Crown races for sure coming out of it. All right, let's go through it one by one. We'll start with the number 1, Pavlovian. He's coming in after winning the Sunland Derby last time out by a nose over Express Kid in just a battle. I would call it down the stretch. If you go back and watch the replay of this one, you might watch it with the sound on to kind of laugh at the track announcer, who was very sure that Express Kid was the winner of that race, but it was Pavlovia that got the job done by a nose. Where did that race come from? Well, that's a good question. He hadn't been much, is how I would describe him. He was 1 for 8 coming into the race, California bred races for the most part. And, he wasn't running just horribly in that, but you look at the race 2 back. He was 3rd, beaten 3 1/4 by Start the Ride. Start the Ride came back, tried the San Felipe in the next start. And, not good. Did not run well. You look at some of the horses he's lost to, it's like, I'm not sure that I know who that is. And that's okay. And not a lot of people do. So, look, I think the effort in the Sunland Derby was just miles better than anything he's ever done. He was up on the pace, and maybe that's the key. Get him up on the pace here. He breaks from the rail here, so I think you just send him again, and I wouldn't. I don't think send him again. Hope for the best. I guess that's kind of what you do. You don't want to be like that blunt about it. But look, he when he was on the lead, or close to the lead, and pressing, he ran much better than these other 8 races. So we'll see if he can show up here. I'm pretty skeptical of him still. But look, that last race was good enough to kind of put him in the ball game here in this one. The number 2 is Autobahn. Autobahn coming off of a nice maiden special weight win, going a mile and 1/8 last time out at Gulfstream Park by 5 3/4. So it was a very nice effort, very fast-ish pace, I would say, in that race, going a mile and 1/8 at least, and set up nicely for Autobahn to kind of come from out of it and get the job done. Pretty slow race overall as far as the clock goes, as far as the any speed figures go. Kind of slow. 2 races before that, on debut, he was 5th, beaten 9 3/4 by Waymark and Highcamp. And then 2 races back, 3rd, beaten 11 3/4 to Canaletto. So nice improvement, stretching out a distance. Needs to improve again. Jockey situation, I have nothing against Pedroza. I think he's a good jockey, but it is interesting that Irad is not here. He is on another Brad Cox horse on Jeff Ruby Stakes Day. That kind of tells me they're not real high on Autobahn. I'm not particularly high on him either. That factor that I just talked about, if I loved the horse, I wouldn't let it bother me too much. I don't love him. I think he's got a little bit too much improving to do to get the job done. Let's talk about a horse I've never liked, and he just keeps running really well, though. The number 3, Chip Honcho. I wasn't really a fan of his in the Gun Runner, and he was able to get the job done. Wasn't a fan of his in the Lecomte, and he ran 4th, beating a length and 3/4. He just didn't run that poorly, though. He hung in there. Boy, the Risen Star, wasn't a fan of him again, and boy, did he almost take him gate to wire. Got comfortable on the lead, got up a couple of lengths, and only lost by a half length to Paladin. Paladin, a horse I'm pretty high on. Now, I think Paladin's going to get better out of that race. I don't know about Chip Honcho. That may have been the best effort. I think it was the best effort he's ever had. Can he repeat it? Can he go a mile in 3/16 here? This horse is by Connect out of a Magician mare. So I think he can. I do think he's going to get out in front. I do think, though, Pavlovian needs to go out there with him and press a little bit if he's got a chance, and that could set it up maybe for somebody coming from a little bit off the pace. But look, I've really doubted him in all 3 of these races, and he's ran pretty darn well in all 3 of them, won one of them. So look, I like him more in this spot than I have yet this season. So he really kind of showed me he's a decent horse. really the comp wasn't that bad for him either. But last time out was really good, I thought, in the Risen Star to get second, only beaten in half length. All right, the number 4 Universe is next here. Horse that needs to get it going, needs to turn it around. Ran second behind Further Ado to end the 2-year-old season. And then 2 races this year have been underwhelming, to say the least. Debuted in the Smarty Jones down at Oaklawn Park, got 7th, beaten 11 1/4. And then the Risen Star last time out got 4th, beaten 7 3/4. I didn't like either effort. He certainly ran better in the Risen Star, but I can't. I don't know. I just can't get there with the Universe. I don't think he's going to be able to improve enough here. Look, if you're wanting to play a longer price, a double-digit price, a big price, I get why you'd want to go back and try it. I do think he might improve a little bit more. I think the mile and 3/16 will be okay for him. It's not a slam dunk though. But anyway, he's not for me in this spot. The number 5 Golden Tempo is next. This has got to be a little bit of a frustrating horse for Cherie DeVoe. First of all, the breeding is tremendous for a mile and 3/16. He's by Curlin, who won the Preakness at a mile and 3/16. He also won at a 1.25 as well, obviously, out of a Bernardini mare. Obviously, that's pretty good as well. But last time out got 3rd, beaten 6 lengths in the Risen Star, and just he's not involved in the race early. And all of his 3 starts, he's just nowhere to be found early in the race. 9 1/4 lengths behind at the first call, 10 1/4 lengths behind at the first call of the second race, 9 3/4 lengths behind in the first call of his third race. So I don't know. I can't really get overly excited about him when he has this kind of running style, unless you see a pace that is just going to be blazing. I don't see a blazing pace here. I think it's going to be faster than the Risen Star, which will certainly help. I don't think it's going to be blazing. Underneath that's kind of where I see 3rd or 4th with Golden Tempo here. I don't like horses with this kind of running style on the dirt. I just don't. I fully concede that they can win, and they do win. And if you see a pace that's going to be hot, I definitely think he's a win contender. But I don't know. I just got to see a little bit more early from him, and just haven't seen it yet. So he's going to have to hope for a hot pace. The number 6 is Spirit of Royal. Spirit of Royal coming off a 9th place effort in the Southwest Stakes last time out. 2 races back, did break the maiden at Oaklawn Park by a length and a half. So 1 out of 7 in his career. Kind of a horse that would be a big time upset here for Dallas Stewart. Another horse I think it's questionable is going to like the mile and 3/16. So this was kind of a skip for me. Here's a horse I really didn't think I would like very much until I looked into the race a little bit more, and I thought this might be interesting. The number 7 Blacksmith, shipping in for Bob Baffert. He doesn't ship in very often to fairgrounds, and let's face it, his shipping with Derby prospects hasn't went all that well. I don't like this horse to win. I want to be clear about that. I just don't. I do think this is an interesting horse that's going to run well here. He's by Liam's Map out of a Curlin mare. He really should go a mile and 3/16 and be okay. His best race came at a mile and a 16th. It was a Los Alamitos for Charity. He did get beat by Litmus Test. I know Litmus Test didn't come back to be that good last time out in the Rebel. He wasn't like awful though, you know what I mean? And then, 2 races back, he got 3rd. He got beat by Robusta. Robusta ran a okay second in the San Felipe. Cherokee Nation finished ahead of him. Of course, he popped next time and ran big. Blacksmith ran really well last time out, going a mile there at Santa Anita. Second start as a 3-year-old. I thought he ran well. I think this is a good spot for him. I think he needs a mile and 3/16. I think this is a good spot for him. Again, I'm not overly excited about him as far as, can he win the race? I don't know, but I do think he's going to show up here and have something to say. I think he'll run okay. Not out on him whatsoever. I think he'll get a decent enough trip. I think he's interesting from the spot. Another interesting horse here is the number 8 Easterly, coming in for Brad Cox as well. Edgar Zayas has rode this horse the last 2 races. Will ride again. That was down at Gulfstream Park. Got second, beaten 3 1/4 on debut to Class President. Class President, we know he's pretty good. He came back and won the Rebel, and that was a good second for Easterly. I thought Class President ran really well that day. Came back and broke the maiden last time out, going a mile 16th at Gulfstream Park. Won by 2 3/4. Beat a field that was decent enough. Speed figure improved going long. I think Sim with a little bit of a shot. If you want to take a shot with one, I think it makes sense. Kind of on the outside looking in as far as my top four is concerned, but a horse I thought about for a while. Went back and watched that last race. Was nothing wrong with it. I just think it's gonna have to get a little bit better. And I'm not 1,000% sure he's going to absolutely love this distance of a mile and a 3/16. And so those kind of strikes were the two that really got me. And then finally, the number 9 is Emerging Market. What to make of Emerging Market? One race, it was impressive, a 3/4 length victory on debut at Tampa Bay Downs. Flavian Pratt was on then. He's on now. I think it is important to note that Flavian Pratt is here with Emerging Market. The bad news for Emerging Market, Power Shift came out of that race, ran in the Tampa Bay Derby, and did not run very good. The good news is Power Shift did not get anywhere near the same kind of trip he got in his debut race. What he got was a trip that Emerging Market got in his debut race, sitting behind horses, catching a little bit of dirt. That didn't bother Emerging Market. He came running and shot by Power Shift there at the end and got the job done. Lightly raced. That's a problem. No doubt about it. This is kind of the field that he can beat, though. I would not want to see him in the Florida Derby. I don't think he can beat those horses. I don't think he can beat the horses up in Arkansas. I think he can beat the horses here. That's where I'm at with Emerging Market. I'm not. I wish Power Shift would have ran better. That would give you a little more confidence. Could it be that maiden got overrated because, it was just kind of a quirky thing that happened at Tampa Bay Downs? Yes. Don't really want to bet $100 on him. I don't want to put a big wager on Emerging Market. I think he looks pretty good in this spot though. And I think, again, I know Power Shift got a kind of a poor trip based on his first race to second race. I know this horse can kind of handle that kind of trip because that's what he got last time out. He came off the pace, got the job done. I like Emerging Market quite a bit in this spot. All right. That is the field of 9. I'm going to go number 9, Emerging Market on top. For me, it was between him and Chip Honcho. I just have this feeling somebody's going to catch Chip Honcho in this race and he's going to run second. I think he'll run well. If Chip Honcho wins, I'll be happy. I'm going to have him in bets. So it's not going to bother me if Chip Honcho wins. I just think Emerging Market has a little more upside. So I'm at number 9, Emerging Market on top. Number 3, Chip Honcho in second. I really didn't think I would do this. Number 7, Blacksmith for me in third. Again, maybe it's fool's gold. I really haven't been high on any Baffert this year, and I'm not that high, I guess, on Blacksmith either. I got him in third, but again, I put number 7 Blacksmith in third. I think he shows up here and runs well, and I've got the number 5 Golden Tempo in 4. So I'm going to go 9, 3, 7, and 5. All right, guys, that'll do this for preview of the Louisiana Derby. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this, and most importantly, good luck if you're betting Fairgrounds on Saturday.